That's great. You're listening to Brighton Nights with me, Boogaloo Stu, here on Brighton's Juice 107.2. And with me now here in the studio, I have Sophie Flack, who is the writer and director of Hansel and Gretel, and Kim Yates, who is appearing in the production at the Rialto Theatre this Saturday afternoon. 2 matinees, one at 12 p.m. and one at 3 p.m. Welcome to the show, Sophie and Kim.
Hi.
Nice to see you. So this is a touring production, isn't it? Before we came on air, you told me you'd just been in Lowestoft, glamorous Lowestoft.
Yes. No, it was lovely. We had 4 performances there,
Right.
2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday.
And where else have you been? Have you been around the country?
That was our first leg of our tour, wasn't it, Lowestoft? Yeah, it was so much fun.
And
So much fun.
so are you going further afield after Brighton?
Yeah,
run up to
so
Christmas?
Lowestoft, and then we're in Brighton this Saturday. Then we're doing quite a long run in London at the end of December. Then we go to Basildon and Essex in January, and then Basingstoke.
Okay. So, Sophie, you're the writer and director of this.
Yes.
Obviously, a lot of people will be familiar with the story of Hansel and Gretel.
Mm-hmm.
How does this production differ?
Well, we wanted to find kind of the characters behind the stereotypes of the fairy tale. So we've had a lot of fun with that. Certainly Hansel and Gretel themselves are not the sort of traditional characters of the story. I didn't want any sort of princessy fairy tale kind of characters in what we were doing. So our Gretel, who's sitting right opposite us, is a sort of very feisty, mischievous, badly behaved tomboy who doesn't like her new stepmother at all. She doesn't want to fit into the stereotype of having to kind of wash and clean and do all the housework. Hansel, on the other hand, doesn't want to learn how to be a woodcutter. He's a very sort of shy, sensitive child. He's very creative, he's a very good painter, and that's what he really wants to learn how to do.
Okay, so you've turned the stereotypes a little bit on their head, I suppose, haven't you? And how does it feel to play this character for you, Kim? Is it true to life at all?
Yes, my mum came to see the Lowestoft show and she said it was very typecast.
Okay.
I don't know how to take that.
Well, you spend most of the show with a stick killing imaginary monsters.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you normally do.
I think I was just quite a demanding child and stroppy and but then quite playful and fun, hopefully.
Right.
Yeah, no, she's lovely in this, and it's so great to see a female character getting to do that. Just really misbehave, be really loud.
Yeah,
just run all over the stage.
And
it's brilliant.
It's so much fun to do. It gets very tiring doing that for an hour and a half non-stop, but it's so much fun to do. And as an actor, it's sort of like you can do whatever you want. You have a license to just parade around the stage, sort of thing.
Okay, Sophie, Kim, if you'll stay with us, we'll talk some more about the show in a few moments. We'll have some music first, though. This is Grace Jones with Pull Up to the Bumper. Grace Jones, Pull Up to the Bumper, here on Juice. Still with me here in the studio, I'm talking to Sophie Flack and Kim Yates about Hansel and Gretel that is coming to the Rialto Theatre this coming Saturday for 2 matinee shows. So, Sophie, is the production set in the modern day?
No, it's set sort of in the 19th century German Black Forest,
Right.
which is when the Brothers Grimm were writing the story. But the characters are slightly anachronistic because the characters all have a sort of modern sensibility. And there is a kind of family drama as well behind the story, obviously, of just the witch who eats kids. So we've given her a bit of a backstory. So she originally grew up in this village and had a gift for magic, and was kind of rejected by the villagers because she was different.
Right.
And rejected by the person that she was in love with. So she was kind of cast out of the village. And then when she becomes this kind of old, lonely woman, she comes back to the village and falls in love with this handsome young woodcutter, and uses her magic to cast a spell to make herself young and beautiful again so she can be with the woodcutter. But in order to stay young and beautiful, she has to kill and eat a child every month.
Right.
Which she does by luring them to her house in the woods with all the sweets and the candy. So then she has this dynamic that she's at home, so she marries the woodcutter and then goes home and discovers that he has 2 actually quite bratty kids that she did not sign up for.
Right.
So she's trying to make it work, and Gretel's very determined. She doesn't want this new woman in the house at all.
Yeah.
But she's trying to get on with the kids, and the woodcutter just is someone who's fundamentally unable to deal with difficult family emotions. Yeah, he cuts down trees. That's That's his thing. That's what he knows.
Yeah.
So he has this terrible family situation at home that he doesn't really know how to deal with either, because, he's brought his kids a new mother and he's like, it's great, sorted, job done. But that doesn't make anyone happy, because he's not really engaging with his children in a way that he needs to, because he's not being a good parent. He can't just get a new mother for them. He should be a father and engage with them, which he doesn't. And also his new wife doesn't want to spend all her time looking after his kids. That's not what she signed up for.
And obviously, this is a production for children, but
it is.
It does have
complex.
It's complex, and
but we want
it's quite grisly, themes in it. I suppose. But how do you play it for kids? How do you scare them slightly, but not too much?
Well, when we were rehearsing, we were always sort of wondering, oh God, are we going too scary now? Because we were looking at the witch, like, she's terrifying. This is awful. But then when we got to Lowestoft, all the kids just loved it.
They
didn't seem to. There was nobody ran out crying. Which is always a plus.
I mean, we make it quite funny. The bit when the kids are in the gingerbread house in the cage and the witch is about to eat them. Like, she sings a song, like the strudel song. So what she's going to do is bake the kids into like apple strudel, but she calls it children's strudel. So she has a song where she sings about like making kids into the strudel.
Which sounds harrowing.
Yeah, but it's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
So I think we deal with the grisly elements by making it quite funny, and then we have a kind of choreographed sequence of when Gretel pushes the witch into the oven.
Yeah.
But again, it's quite funny, and we have like a kind of silent movie soundtrack. So yeah, I think the darker the story gets, the lighter a touch we have with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the kids loved it. Like, we had 2 school matinees. We had like 100 5-year-olds in each show, screaming at the top of their lungs,
which we had not thought through beforehand, had we?
Like, when the bird eat the breadcrumbs, they are like, I feared they would never stop screaming at one point. They were like, he's behind you, the Hansel Gretel, he's eating the breadcrumbs.
It's so much audience participation. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
And so, who else is in the cast besides you, Kim?
So we have Hansel. So it's 4 of us all together.
Right.
So it's Gretel, me, Hansel, our father, the woodcutter, and then our evil stepmother, Gisela.
Right.
And there's also a 5th character who's a magical
bird.
A magical winged demon bird who's the witch's servant. He's played by the guy who plays the woodcutter, and he has like a mask and a costume.
Yeah.
When he came on for the bow at the end as the woodcutter, all the kids were like, where's the bird? Where's the bird?
I didn't clock that it was played by the same person.
So, and what about the visual side of the show? Do you have a lot of props and scenery for this production?
Do you know what's that?
Well, we sort of, because it's a touring production, we sort of kept it quite minimal, and we wanted it to be more magical, so we have a lot of fairy lights and sort of woodland foliage. But generally speaking, it's quite...
we wanted kids to use their imaginations, I think,
definitely.
really. There's a lot of like lighting and sound, like there's a lot of music in it. No, it's not sort of massive flats and painted and all that kind of stuff. It's more, I think, the storytelling sells it and engages the kids with that. We do have a cage, which is quite fun.
Right.
That's not imaginary.
Or the kids want to like get in the cage afterwards.
Right. Okay, well, good luck with these shows. As I said at the start of the interview, you're at the Rialto on Saturday, and there's 2 matinees, one at 12 and then another at 3. Do you know how much tickets are?
Yes, so adults are £12, children £10, or you can get a family ticket for 4, which is £40.
Okay, great. And they're available from the Rialto website, which is rialtotheatre.co.uk. I think I'm right in saying yes.
Yes, that's right. And someone else I feel I should mention as well. There is a lovely local baker called Charlotte, who runs a company called Charlotte's Sweet Treats, who actually makes bespoke gingerbread houses. And she will be there for both the performances. So in the interval, she is baking and providing cupcakes and gingerbread men, and there'll be a raffle to win one of her gingerbread houses.
Lovely. Delicious.
Yeah.
Well, Kim and Sophie, thanks for coming in and telling us all about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.